Well, I'm going to talk to you one last time about what I see as the future of mule deer hunting here in Oregon. I've hunted here all my life. I've got a whole lot of memories. I've filmed a few deer and other wildlife. I've enjoyed my time outdoors. But now, I'm going to take this opportunity to tell you that I think the time for action was yesterday. Sad, but true. So, what's the future of deer hunting in Oregon? The populations of all of Oregon big game herds are decreasing, some more than others, but the most savagely hit have been the mule deer. Their numbers have been cut by more than half, and in some units, like my favorite, the north side, they've been cut by 75%. When Measure 18 passed in 1994 that disallowed hunting bear and cougars with hounds, the responsibility to control these predators then fell to the ODF&W. And in the 30 years since the measure passed, they have failed miserably to keep predator numbers down. Why? Because no one working in government wants the finger of responsibility for any action pointed at themselves. So they do nothing. They make reports and studies that reference other reports and studies, just hoping that years will pass until they can collect their PERS pensions. That's it. Now here's a draft from the Mule Deer Management Forum that came out in 2023. This is the future of mule deer in Oregon. Section 8, Issues and Strategies, Predators, a little over a page long, makes at least 27 mentions of previous studies and comes to no conclusion. But the report does say, in review of more than 30 studies of mule deer and black-tailed deer populations, predation was the most widely reported proximate cause for the mortality of adult and juvenile deer. This total is twice as much as sickness, old age, road kills, poaching, and hunting combined. The bulk of this killing is done by cougars, and the OD boys say this about mountain lions in their own words. In contrast to other predators of mule deer in Oregon, cougars have the greatest potential to affect mule deer populations. Cougars readily take all age classes, and cougar predation presents the biggest source of mortality for adult females. If nothing is done, no action taken, 3 years from now, by the end of 2026, there will probably be less than 100,000 mule deer in Oregon. Now, the OD boys have made several studies during the years since the passage of Measure 18 in 1994 about how predator reductions affect mule deer populations, and come to basically no conclusions about managing these predators in 30 years. But one of the reasons given for lack of conclusions is that a game management unit is too large for a study to be properly managed. The test was inconclusive because the test area, a complete hunting unit, was too big, so says the OD boys. What? The OD boys are in charge of managing the entire state, and in 30 years you haven't been able to effect a change in a county-sized unit? You admit that you can't manage a single unit? And here's another quote that should make you shake your head in amazement. Hunting seasons are the primary population management tool used in Oregon. Bullshit. I can remember when the mule deer population was over 300,000 animals, and hunters were taking as much as 30,000 antlerless deer in a year. Hunting was a management tool then. You could designate the harvest by sex, and there you could control the population. But now, hunters take perhaps 15,000 deer, bucks, and no more than a couple of hundred does on some little private land hunts. That's not management. Now we know the problem. The OD boys know the problem. Too many predators, way too many cats. They will continue to do nothing. Maybe they'll make a couple of studies if they can find a small enough area to manage. Heck, possibly some high school over in eastern Oregon has a football field they're not using. It all comes back to predators, and primarily cougars. Ranchers, hunters, and even the OD boys all know we have way too many mountain lions. According to ORS Statute 496.162, the ODF&W can conduct coordinated removal of cougars. The ODF&W can also implement administrative removal of predators to benefit ungulates population. That means you can get rid of cougars if it's going to help the deer. And it means that they can legally use professional hunters with dogs to lower the population of cougars and thereby raise the population of deer. By the end of 2023, this year just closed, the Oregon mule deer herd was about 155,000 animals. The fawn crop this spring will be perhaps 80, maybe 100,000 animals if we're real lucky. This little bump in population of all these fawns will raise the deer herd to maybe 250,000 animals, briefly. But then we'll lose 30 to 35,000 to poaching, to road kills, to hunting, to disease, to old age, everything. That's 35,000. But to cougars, we will lose 80 to 100,000 of our mule deer, twice as many as all other causes combined. That's sad, and nobody is doing a thing about it. Where are the ODA boys? What are they doing? What are they planning? Nothing. Yeah, the OD boys, they even want to beg out of their responsibility by saying that hunting is the ideal way to control predators. They want hunters to get rid of this excess amount of predators. Well, that's a good idea. Okay, I can go along with that. Then how come? Tell me why. This year, the Oregon Department of Fish and Game made it illegal to have organized hunts for coyotes on public land. They made it illegal to reward hunters for shooting coyotes. That's a fact. I can't make that kind of stuff up. That's how the management of the ODF&W works, or doesn't work. So when Measure 18 passed, outlawing hunting bears and cougars with dogs, you lost all the serious cougar hunters in Oregon. Now, I've heard plans from the OD boys that they're giving out, 75,000 cougar tags in sports packs, hoping this will reduce the number of cougars. Well, I gotta tell you, cougars are nocturnal animals. They're seldom seen. You don't stalk them like mule deer. In the average year, here's these 75,000 tags handed out in the sports pack, plus thousands more are sold over the counter, and hunters get 200 cougars a year? That's not enough. So the OD boys, they think they'll solve the problem. They said maybe we should hand out pamphlets on how to hunt cougars along with the tags. Now here's a group of people that don't know how to manage cougars themselves. They had 7 cougar reduction hunts in the state of Oregon around 2014 or so. And in these 7 cougar reduction hunts, only one did they meet their management quota for removal of cougars. Yep, the units are just too big. We can't do that. But let's continue with this for a minute. If you want hunters to be responsible for removing cougars, you've got to give them something. Give them preference points. Give them big game tags. Heck, let successful cougar hunters apply for special sheep, goat, pronghorn tags. Give them something. Give them some encouragement. And the ODF&W does anything but that. Come on. We could make this work with a little effort on the part of the OD board. It's really frustrating. You hear a lot of talk from the OD boys about cougar removal, and then they refer to these 7 cases where they tried to remove animals. And then they say things that are not really true. Pinocchio things. The OD boys said, well, as far as we can tell, getting cougars out of the picture didn't really help the deer population any. BS! Put the cow's head up there. Wow. And then go back to 2010 or 2014 or so, when they removed 60 cougars at a cost of $1,100 apiece from the Steens Mountain Unit. They had this to say: rifle harvest data is probably the clearest indicator that the target area had a positive impact on the deer population in the Steens. Steens hunter success increased and the number of yearling bucks harvested decreased in number. This indicates that not only are hunters having more success, but they are also harvesting more mature bucks. But then the cougar removal was ceased and the mule deer harvest numbers started going back down. Meanwhile, the OD boys say that between January 2010 and the end of 2019, 10 years, a total of over 779,000 miles, acres, or other treatment units, whatever you want to call them, were treated at a cost of $53 million. This is basically habitat restoration projects, and during that period the deer herd went from 240,000 down to 170,000. 70,000 fewer animals. Looks like the habitat restoration didn't really do a lot of good. If the cost for removing cougars now has risen to even $2,000 a cougar, then for just $8 million we could get rid of 4,000 cougars. That's a lot cheaper than cutting juniper trees down or spraying noxious weeds. It would actually have results, so I guess we're not going to put much effort into thinking about doing this, are we, boys? Probably not. In the end, our mule deer numbers are falling with an increasing rate. And sadly, there is one specific reason why. Listen to this. Management actions related to predators is further complicated as differing segments of Oregonians have contrasting views of predators. The Oregon Department of Fish and Wildlife's official position is, well, different people have different ideas, so we're just deciding to do nothing. Nothing is going to be done because some members of the public might get excited if cougars were removed. This is the same segment of society that would also be upset to find out that cougars are each killing 25 of these every year. That's right, fawns. Cougars love to kill fawns, and so do coyotes. And why? Because they're easy to catch. They're little, they can't run. The problem is they're little, and that means they don't have meat on them like the big ones do, so the cougars have to kill even more. Now, I know a lot of people would like to believe that cougars and wolves and coyotes and bears and all these other predators out in the woods, they just kill the sick and the old. And that is total bunk. They kill mainly the young. But that's the kind of thing that some people would never admit. This is why we need responsible management. And that is what we don't have. We have a management that's trying to appease everybody and doing nothing for anybody. The deer population is going to continue to go down. The predator population is going to continue to go up. And once the deer herds and the elk herds have been reduced far enough, these predators are going to start preying on livestock, cows, sheep. They're going to eat personal pets. They're going to eat anything they find in front of them because that's how predators work. They don't live on carrots. Wake up. This is going to happen in just a few years. It's time that somebody actually did something. Come on, OD boys. Do something. Make a difference. Get out there and show that you've got management in you somewhere. It's just sad that we see so little done. But what I've been told is the ODF and W boys, what they're doing right now is waiting for, praying for a severe winter. A winter that kills some of these big game animals. We've been lucky lately and haven't had anything real bad. But there are some that are hoping that we have really a tough winter and get rid of some of our deer. And that way, the entire loss they've absorbed in the last 20 years can be blamed on weather. Yeah, we had a terrible this year, and just destroyed our mule deer herds, and so we're going to have to cut down on tag numbers that we issue. And they're going to de-emphasize hunting. And maybe that is the goal. Maybe hunting is an activity that the OD boys want to see taper off a little bit, discontinue, to appease this other side that says, well, you guys are the managers of wildlife in Oregon. Why do you allow people to harvest some of your animals? I know that's silly, but there are people out there that say it. Are they really hoping to kind of phase out hunting by inaction? Is that the end plan for what they're doing, which is nothing? And it goes back to the fact that nobody working for government wants to have a finger pointed at them. Okay, well right now I'm going to point a finger at you and say, if you're a hunter in Oregon, you should be pissed. Seriously. I'm done deer hunting. I'm going to hang up the old 7mm and get out of the woods. You guys that want to keep banging the brush, go ahead on it and good luck to you. Now I think I'll do like a lot of other old geezers and just go over to the coast and find a spot to sit and watch the waves pound the shore. It's been a lot of fun and made a lot of memories, but it's time to quit. And a special note to you boys from the OD and to you ladies also, I know it's a mixed crowd. I know that most of you watching this video will agree with me. It's not the field agents, it's not the outside crew, it's not their fault. This whole mess goes back to management and the lack of conviction to do anything. And we all know it. Goodbye. Nope, I'm not going to get out the door without trying to sell you a book. Now I'm going to make this as quick as possible. Remember, the secret word is Amazon. Let me give you a couple of details. The first book is Now That I Think About It. When my first wife threw me out, I spent a year roaming around the state, running into unusual people and having a heck of a time. It was quite an adventure. Then A Distinguished Life is about Ralph Higbee, a true hero of World War II. Won the Distinguished Service Cross. And this one's about me. I quit high school at 17, joined the Army, and wound up doing 2-year-long tours in Asia. Lucky me. Anyway, that's the books. And that was quick and easy, and now I am going out the door.